Hello everyone and welcome back to another Unpopular Opinions video. This time I'm going to be talking about my thoughts and opinions on Jojos parts 1 through 4. Oh boy, it's time to really piss off some Jojos fans. Jojos, I think, honestly helped anime become a little more mainstream in the US a few years ago, and I'm not really sure why, to be honest. I feel as if there are many other better anime titles that could have made anime more popular and mainstream in the US, but for some reason I guess it was Jojos. This show's not bad, but it's not amazing either. Well, let's just jump right into my thoughts on the series. Jojos Part 1. The first few episodes are pretty good. You meet Dio and his backstory, which is absolutely amazing. I love his backstory. Jonathan and his story, Arena, and a few others. But after that, the show goes downhill a little bit. I feel like after Jonathan meets Speedwagon, like an episode or two after that, it starts to kind of, it gets a little boring. The middle of this season is boring. Haman is super busted. Like, anytime they are in trouble, Speedwagon's just like, yo, my dude, you can just use Haman and get out of this. And they do it, and it's so busted. Jonathan, I mean, he's alright. He's kind of bland and boring, though. But then we get to the end of the season where they fight Dio, and the Dio fight was actually pretty cool. I enjoyed it a lot. Part 2. Joseph Joestar is one of the funniest and well-written characters I have ever seen in an anime. This dude is so funny. I loved every minute of him and his arc. Oh, and guess what? Haman's not busted in this season. Yeah, they actually got to work on leveling this shit up, or else they're gonna get their asses beat by some ancient pillarmen. Side note, this season was kind of random. It felt like it was not like the others. There's little to no talks about Jojo's family and the Dio family and their whole backstory, and honestly, I'm kind of okay with it. Although I really did like Jojo's family's backstory and Dio's backstory, they kind of veered away from that this season, and like I said, I'm kind of okay with it. Instead, they focus on these Pillarman fucks, which still kind of ties back into the main story. It's a little confusing, but it's so good. I loved this part so much. Every single part, every single episode, I felt like we were getting some sort of new story element or character development. And that's why I like part 2 so much. On top of the fact that, like I said, Joseph Joestar is just one of the most likable character in any anime I've ever watched. Part 3. Okay, so this is where I'm going to piss some people off, and I can already see JoJo's fans getting sweaty and typing shit in the comments. Alright, so hear me out, right? Stands are absolutely stupid. The jump from normal people with just super strength and, you know, Haman breathing, whatever, I thought was fine. It was good with how they did it. But then they took the jump to stands, and I think stands are really, really dumb. They do all of the fighting for that character. The shit is whack. There is absolutely no point in Haman at all anymore. Haman was such a cool thing because only a few people knew about it and could use it. But stands, they say that only a few people have stands, but bruh, everybody's got one. If they introduced stands in the beginning of the series, it would be completely different, but they just randomly threw it in this season. Like, every other fucking episode is a filler episode in this part as well. Every episode of their travels, they just get attacked by a new person with a new stand, and it's like, my dude, is this really necessary? And how many people have these things? It made Haman feel so much less special, and it made having a stand a lot special too, because everybody's got one now. It's hella whack. Oh, and y'all like Jodoro? How? This dude is the most bland and boring JoJo so far. This dude says 3 words per episode, if you're lucky. Oh, but Jodoro, he's so edgy and mysterious. Bitch, no, he just doesn't say shit. I do want to make a quick side note. When I initially was watching part 3, that's when I was writing the script for part 3, and I didn't like Jodoro at first because he said only 3 words. I really liked his asshole personality traits, like I mentioned in the video, but I just wish that he talked more and actually, you know, played not a bigger part in the story, but like actually gave more dialogue. I guess that's just my biggest complaint about him is he has no dialogue, and him not having no dialogue doesn't exactly make him edgy in my eyes. It just makes me think that he's extremely lacking in character. Without dialogue, you have no character to yourself. Polnareff has more character to him than Jodoro does, and even then, his character sucks too. The only character in the show that has any character to him, or any character development to him, was fucking Iggy the dog. He is an asshole who hates everyone, and then ends up becoming someone who actually cares for the gang and loves them. He even takes his own life to save Polnareff. This whole season is about the great lead up to the Dio confrontation, but how good is the Dio fight? Well, it is the best part of this season, but it's not amazing. Don't go into this expecting some crazy ass Dragon Ball Z-esque fight, because it's not that. It's more about them simply outsmarting each other, which is okay and good. Honestly, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I really enjoyed Dio's stand and its powers, but what I don't enjoy is how often the characters in this fight are so close to dying. Like, I swear Jodoro almost dies like 57 different times, but he never does, and always just somehow plot armors his way through the fight. It was super annoying. Overall, I understand that part 3 was all about the journey and not so much the destination or the story behind it, but the way that a lot of JoJo's fans were hyping it up, were saying like, hey, this is going to be an amazing story, the amazing fight, like it's all about this great huge lead up to finally take down Dio, like it's amazing, it's amazing, it's amazing. But in reality, to me it felt like a bunch of filler with a couple episodes about the story, and then they just finally get to the fight. And the fight was pretty good, don't get me wrong, but like I said, there's just a lot of plot armor that shines through in this fight. Now, on to Season 4. I won't take up too much of your time with this one, because it's pretty much just Season 3 Part 2, with even less story to it. This season, I feel like it tried doing what Season 2 did, but not as well. The first half of the story to Part 4 is they are just hunting down Dio's bow and arrow that makes stands. So that kind of explains why everybody has stands in the previous season, but still kind of makes them less special in my opinion. And during their hunt, they run into a ton of useless side characters, and excuse my pronunciation on these because I don't really know how to pronounce them, but like Kobashi, Yuya, and Yukiko? I cannot pronounce these names. There are so many characters we met for about 2 to 3 episodes, and then after that they're completely irrelevant. Like, why even waste our time introducing these characters if they're only going to show up for maybe one time later on in the show? But that's pretty much it for the first like 20 episodes of this part. After that, they finally find out who has the bow and arrow, and the show starts to pick up a little bit. About halfway through the show, they finally introduce the main antagonist, Kira. And a few episodes after they introduce him, there's this amazing fight. But here's where I think Season 4 fucked up big time. So like I said, in the first half of the season, you're meeting all these people with stands, like Rohan, Yokiko, Hazmata, and many others. And then when we meet the big bad guy Kira, Josuke and all of these people that we met in the first half fight Kira, and they actually lose to him. For the most part, I mean, they lose to him. And that's including Jodoro too. Big bad Jodoro from Season 3 gets his ass handed to him in this fight. I mean, he also loses to a rat earlier in the season, but I just thought that was really funny, and I love how people joke about Jodoro being this big bad guy and he loses to literally a rat, and then also this Kira guy. But anyways, Kira ends up getting away in this fight. Now, for the rest of the season, it would be sick if they simply just hunted him down and fought him, which they definitely do that, and I really enjoyed that a lot. But it wouldn't be JoJo's if they didn't have about 10 to 15 episodes of them fighting random stand users before they can reach Kira again. It's super disappointing because it feels like they just throw a ton of like random filler in here and there. Now, there are a few good episodes, like how you're learning about Kira and how he's trying to blend in and act normal. Pretty much once the third opening hits, Great Days, or better known as Breakdown, is when the season really starts to pick up. By the way, Breakdown was such an amazing opening, and honestly, the Bites the Dust version of it was so fucking cool. An amazing touch. But aside from that, this is where the show starts to get a bit more intense because everyone's getting closer to finally finding out who Kira is. So eventually, Josuke finds out who Kira is, and they start to fight. But this fight is so fucking lame and boring. Kira is just shooting bombs, and Josuke is... Josuke's shooting glass at him. Yeah, Josuke quite literally takes down the big bad serial killer final boss guy by shooting a piece of glass at him. It is so stupid, in my opinion. But you want to know what's worse? The final way that Kira dies. If you've already watched part 4, you know what I'm about to say. Okay, so in Kira's last moments, he's trying to detonate Bites the Dust to go back in time. So Kira thinks he did it, and he actually realizes that he's dead and learns about how he really died. This was an amazing touch, but finding out how he really died was super lame. So Koichi makes his hand very heavy, and of course the iconic Jodoro has to deliver the final blow by activating Jodoro and beating the shit out of Kira. So when time finally comes back into place, Kira is still just barely alive until he literally gets run over by a car. Yeah, the big bad antagonist gets defeated because a car hits him. Absolutely the worst way to end that fight. And the last few things that I didn't like about this season is how everyone's stands have like 5 different powers. Like, remember in part 3 when everyone was pretty much just a one-trick pony and they had to master their one ability? That part of part 3 I actually did enjoy. But like, Jodoro was strong and fast as fuck. But now Josuke's strong, fast, can fix things, can heal things, and he can do so many other things. Like, why? I thought it was fine the way it was before. And can we talk about Jodoro? Okay, no, I get it. Last season, he had no character to him. He was edgy and said like 3 words an episode. Whatever, that's fine. I guess it kind of added some character to him, but I don't know. Anyways, his design was actually really sick and very iconic in part 3. I really, really love Jodoro's design in part 3. But now this time, they redesigned him and it absolutely looks awful. He has this white outfit and his hat has like a heart on it, and he talks more, and which is fine. Like him talking more is fine, but it's going against his personality from part 3. He's a lot more caring this season, and also like a bit more dumber this season too, and maybe even weaker too, because like I said, he's getting his ass beat by a rat. Like part 3, he got his ass beat by literally nobody except for maybe Dio. He has some smart moments this season, but compared to season 3, he's way dumber. And I think that's just because he's caring about people a lot more and trying to save them, and it simply doesn't work out as well. Like part 3, he didn't give a shit if the people with him died. He didn't care about anyone. He was an asshole, which I do like his asshole personality traits to him, but when you change that to make him more caring, it kind of defeats who the person he was in part 3. To wrap up this video, I just want to say, if Jojos did not have so much filler within it, it could be an absolutely amazing anime. But it's simply just okay, in my opinion. Now, again guys, please keep in mind, this is all just my opinion. If you disagree with me, that's okay. We all have our own opinions. Some people want different things with their shows. I personally want shows with amazing stories, and some may just want goofy characters to love. Other might want amazing visuals and music. Everyone's different, and that's okay. I've currently stopped watching Jojos after finishing part 4, and I'm not sure if I want to continue anymore. Is part 5 and 6 any better, guys? Let me know in the comments if I should continue to watch this series. Also, don't forget to leave a like if you liked the video, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you can stay updated whenever I post a new video. Well, with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful day today.